I've been watching a lot of stuff on the mafia lately on YouTube and shit. And one thing that really caught my eye was Joe Colombo and the Italian American Civil Rights League. Um, a lot of people rate this rate what he did as foolish and try for being out there and not flying under the radar like some of the more conservative bosses such as Carlo Gambino or Vito Genovese. Genovese, or however you want to pronounce his last name. You say tomato, I say tomato. Whatever. But anyway, was Joe Colombo ahead of his time, or was he out of his mind? Let's talk about this. Anyway, see, the Italian American Civil Rights League was founded in 1970 by Joe Colombo, and it got really big and really popular and really powerful. He was picking in the FBI. He did some things with the movie The Godfather and made it so they couldn't say the words mafia or Cosa Nostra. And now, he earned the anger of the commission, which, if you know anything about a guy named Dutch Schultz, you'll realize that pissing off the commission is not a good idea. But that being said, the mafia had been operating the way they had operated for centuries, and before they even came to America, in Sicily. However, Joe Colombo could probably see the writing on the wall. I mean, he could see, like, before Nicky Barnes even happened, before John Gotti, he could see that, cameras were becoming more and more common, and shit like that. I guess he realized that the five families couldn't stay hidden forever. The five families consist of the Gambino crime family, the Genovese crime family, Bonanno crime family, Lucchese crime family, and finally, last but not least, the Colombo crime family. They're all in New York, and they pretty much run the show as far as Italian-American organized crime goes. Now, am I Italian-American? Nope. I look like it, but I'm not. The thing is like, Joe Colombo could see the effectiveness of the civil rights movement launched by African Americans, and he decided to do the same thing. And as I said before, he was successful in getting Cosa Nostra and Mafia omitted from The Godfather. And it's like, you see, he realized that the victim card was a trump card in itself, and if you could make yourself seen as victims in the eyes of the public, you have a lot of political pull and punch. And however, a lot of the mob bosses told other mob bosses of the other families, told him to fucking stop it. And did he listen? Nope. Now, he has been labeled a dumbass for doing this. However, I would argue the opposite. He was ahead of his time. And he could see where the future was. Because if you can get yourself into a protected class, you can get away with a lot more shit. And just say, they can just say, oh, they're being racist, they're being this, they're being that, they're being intolerant, And, however, Joe Colombo did make one very stupid move, and that was implicating Carlo Gambino, who was pretty much capo to, how do you pronounce it? Capo to the capi, boss of all bosses in Italian. And he didn't like that. And especially when Joe Colombo was lying in front of that grand jury about Carlo Gambino. And so eventually the powers that be, i.e. the commission, decided Joe Colombo has to go and has to go now. And not surprisingly, he was shot. And, there was a lot of arguments about who was responsible for the shooting. It was some black guy, but the question is, who ordered the shooting? the gentleman in question who shot Joey was killed on the spot by Colombo's bodyguards. That being said, is you know, the whole idea of victimhood. If you can make yourself into a victim rather than a perpetrator, that gives you a whole bunch of weight behind you, especially when you can confuse people with the truth, you know? And that's what Joe Colombo did. He knew how to play politics, and he knew how to play it very effectively. Now, the big question is, what would have happened if Joe Colombo had lived? I mean, would the RICO law have been passed? RICO stands for Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Act. Would the RICO Act have been passed? I don't know. Might it have been repealed later on? I don't know. But it's like, this saying easy come, easy go applies with the Italian American Civil Rights League, because after Joe Colombo got shot and died of his wounds years later, he was pretty much in a comatose state for the rest of his life. The league fell apart within a year. And now, what could the league have accomplished had it stayed around, or if someone else had picked up the reins from Joe Colombo, if Joe Colombo had not been shot, or if somebody else had stepped in? It might have been able to, it probably could have done a lot of good for the mafia, I feel. But frankly, there are several things I think brought down the mafia. There was just, the way society changed. I mean, there's too many people taking pictures. There's a whole bunch of stuff. They can wiretap everything. I mean, law enforcement is extremely sophisticated now, especially federal law enforcement. And as such, it was impossible to just stay hidden forever. And I think Joe Colombo saw that, whereas the other mob bosses didn't. Anyway, in conclusion, did Joe Colombo make some stupid moves? Oh yeah. Was he ahead of his time? Most likely. Anyway, as far as to bring this video full circle, I'm just going to say, was Joe Colombo ahead of his time, or was he out of his mind? The answer, my opinion, is he was both. Now, that's all for now. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all. And forget about it.